Right, hello. Let's see if this is any better. We did start to go live a little while ago, so if you're joining us, we did start, and it was very, very blurry. So I've come out and come in again, true IT style. Let's turn it off and turn it on again and see if that helps. So yeah, we're going to see if that's made any difference, because it was very, very blurry and I don't know why. So good morning, my name is Helen Jennings. I'm the Stampin' Up demonstrator based here in the UK, and we come on this morning to do some crafting. So yeah, so very pleased that you're joining us. Hope that the people that were joining us early will be able to find us again, and hopefully that we will be a bit clearer now. Clear at the moment, yes. Let's see what happens when I bring my camera down, Jane. See, that looks quite clear so far. So this is me, www.loveaduckie.co.uk, and you can find me there on my website. Do and go check out, as I was saying earlier. All of my classes and things have now been uploaded on for December, so do go and check those out, and anything else. My blog obviously is there, and links to my shop and all those sorts of things, to buy tutorials, all of those sorts of things going on my website. But you'll also find me everywhere else under Love-a-Duckie. So go and find me on YouTube, go and find me on Pinterest, Facebook, Instagram, all of those places. Okay, let's move that out of the way. Now, what we were doing is we were playing with the Stars Are Shining stamp set, but rather than concentrating on the stars, we were going to play with the baubles, and that is indeed what we'd started to do. And so now I will carry on where I left off. I'll talk you through, because I should just delete the other video. I'll talk you through where I've got to and what I've done. So what I have done so far is I've taken these 4 baubles and I have stuck them onto this block, and that's looking much better. So I've just got all 4 of those baubles onto this block, and then I've inked them up with some memento ink, and I've taken a strip of card that is 14.9 centimeters by 7.5 centimeters. So we said that that's the full width of a card base, but that is it's 3 centimeters shorter, so that's probably about 1.25 inches shorter than the standard card width. So, and then what we've done is we've inked this up with memento, and we've started off in the middle, stamped that one, moved this one down a little bit and stamped it, and moved that one a little bit and stamped it. So we have got, here's one we made earlier in an earlier video that was far too blurry for us to be able to see it. We've got these little baubles coming across our card. Now if we go back to our stamp set, we have got this string here with this bow on it. So let's bring in our string, because obviously at the moment all of these baubles are just floating in midair, and unless they are magic Harry Potter baubles, that just isn't right. So let's take, I think the H block will be the one we want for that. I should just lay that down on my paper. It is very sort of bendy, so I'm going to line that up against one of the dotty lines on my paper and then pick it up with my block. So now to add some strings and bows to our baubles, I'm going to turn it round just because I will be able to see it better that way. Doesn't look as if it's got enough ink on that side of that bow. Again. Now that one is going to go right the way through that bauble if I'm not careful. So I'm going to take a little bit of washi tape. Ooh, that curved quite nicely, didn't it? That was more luck than design. Yeah. Comes down the back as if by magic, a bit of masking. Thank you, Angie, for sharing again. There we go. So now they are no longer floating in mid-air. So I've stamped that in Memento because I am planning on coming in. Just wipe my fingers because I seem to have Memento everywhere. I come in with some Stampin' Blends, and I actually picked, these are a bit of in colour going on here. I've got some Pale Papaya, some Polished Pink, some Fresh Freesia, and some Flirty Flamingo. So there is 4 different baubles there, so I've got 4 different colours, but obviously we're going to be able to mix and match those up. And this is the Fresh Freesia here. So these are quite sort of pastel-y bright colours that I'm using here, rather than, you can obviously have any colour palette that you want. You could go with greens and reds and whatever you fancy. So I've picked this big one to start with. Now I could spend ages doing all of the little twirly bits in different colours and things, but I think you might lose the will if I do that. So let's just do that whole panel in Flirty Flamingo. I think while I've got Flirty Flamingo in my hand, I'm going to do this one, top and bottom. I think I'll bring in some Polished Pink to go across here, and then perhaps we'll have some Fresh Freesia just here. Let's come in with light Polished Pink here. Some dark Flirty Flamingo. So we're just going across and we're just doing a little bit of choosing our colours, mixing and matching. Some light Pale Papaya in that one. This one here we'll do in dark papaya, and let's have some dark fresh freesia. And I think we'll go light polished pink. Dark flirty flamingo. Obviously you will take much more care colouring in these than I am. Light polished pink. I think we need another pale papaya one. This one down here will have dark fresh freesia. Click click, light fresh freesia. I think I'm going to do this one. And one more bauble to go. And let's have, bring this centre bit in as pale papaya. And I think we'll go perhaps a bit of light flirty flamingo. That's quite a sort of fluorescent pink, isn't it? Let's just bring in the dark polished pink for these bits top and bottom. And we've got one more. I think actually it was coloured in, but there we go. So there we have some lovely pinks and purples and pale papayas for our baubles. So I have already cut a piece of fresh freesia cardstock. So this is actually 8.5 centimeters by 14.9. So that is just an inch smaller than your card base. I'm going to stick these on. Let's see if my glues are working. Yes. And then we want a greeting on there of some sort. What about be merry and bright? That sounds perfect. Actually, we're going to be brave. Some might call it foolhardy. And we'll attempt to stamp that on that front. It's a lovely curly font, this one. Hold it in place. Helen is wonderful, Helen is wonderful, Helen is wonderful. Perfect. So then we just want a few little blingy things on there. Just going to bring in some rhinestones. I don't want to come crashing behind me. And I think we'll put a few little rhinestones on there. And I think I'm not going to do anything else with that, because that is very cute. So there we are. Those are those 4 baubles, all placed on a block to create like sort of one bigger stamp almost that we've then used. And that would be very easy to mass produce lots of those. Just cut your strips, and obviously you've got to colour them in, but that could be a job. The stamping themselves is very easy, and colouring it in would be a job for sitting in front of the telly. Put yourself on a good Hallmark Christmas movie and away you go. So that's that one. That's card number 1. Now, itchy palms. It's both, so that means money's coming in and going out, isn't it? For this second card, I've picked up some of the Tidings of Christmas DSP. Just move that out of the way. And I've got this sort of soft succulent one just here, this cherry cobbler one, and this Sahara sand one, and then I'm going to also use this green stripy one, I think. So what I'm going to do with these, again, I'm going to use these baubles. I'll clean them up. I'm going to use them one at a time this time, and we're going to do a bit of stamping onto DSP. The DSP is going to become the patterns on our baubles. So let me find a smaller block. I think an A block, possibly a B block, mixture of both. I think these ones will want to be on the B block, whereas those will probably fit, yes, on the A block. And I'm going to bring in some Versamark and some gold embossing powder. I was saying on a blog post this week, well, actually I think it's gone out this morning, this blog, about how embossing, heat embossing was the thing that got me hooked into card making in the first place, and is still something that I love to do even now. So I think this one we will go with this stripe. We have that stripe coming down across the centre of our baubles. Let's just put a bit of embossing buddy on there. And we will ink up this bauble. And let's look at those stripes in the background, that we're getting them about where we want them to be. Take the lid off my gold embossing. And sprinkle that on. Oh, I think we knocked most of that off. Too fierce a knock. Okay, so that's one. I'll get the heat gun out in a minute. This little one here, I'm going to carefully, so as not to knock that embossing powder, cut that one out because I want the red on the other side. And I'm actually going to do 2 red ones. Let's put those to one side. So that's that bauble and that bauble. Let's bring in this long one and this little tiny round one. So little round one I'm going to do in the Sahara sand. Sorry, I've just stamped that right in that bottom corner off camera. And last but by no means least, let's do this one. And this soft succulent. Right. Put the lid on my powder so that we don't knock it flying. Move those stamps out of the way because they're photopolymer and I don't want to melt them. Let's bring in the heat gun, warm this up. And let's heat this. It will turn a bit quicker than it would on cards just because the paper will heat up quicker. Let's bring in our 2 red ones. Shiny, shiny. Our little Sahara sand one. And then, last but not least, might need something to hold this down while I heat it. We want on the stripy paper. Okay. I'm going to find my paper snips. And we will cut these out. Leaving just a little bit of a border around the outside of that embossing. So one stripy bauble. One Sahara sand bauble. Two cherry cobbler baubles going on here. Obviously you can use any cardstock, any paper. And last but not least, and then if you're embossing powders, you could have done this in white, you could do it in black. Might be a bit stark in black. You could certainly do it in silver, copper. And we have a whole host of little baubles just there. So I'm going to take one of these papers. Let's have a look. Some really lovely papers in here. I do particularly love this one. Dark green's quite nice, isn't it? Nice red stripe in there. And you've got your Christmassy tree one. Quite like that combination. You might have a few coming down like this. Where's that one gone? Okay. Just take my string again and line it back up along a line on my paper, just so that we've got a bit of a sense of it being straight. One, two, three, 4, 5 baubles, all present and correct. Move this paper out of the way for a minute. Grab a piece of evening evergreen cardstock. Actually got a bit wet somewhere. I'm going to cut this so it is 14.4 by 10. And then I think we'll cut this so it is 4 centimeters by 13.9. this, so it is 4. This one needs to be 5.5 by 13.9. Bit of maths on the go. And we have got this rather nice cherry cobbler and gold ribbon. Let's use some of that coming down here. And we'll have little baubles. So let's stick this paper in place first. We've got a nice chevron pattern on this one. And we've got the stripe coming down the card. We'll have that in a moment wrapping around. Won't put that on just yet though. Because what I want to do is decide where I'm going to have these baubles. I'm going to lift some of them up on dimensionals. It's a bit like that. So what I'm going to do now is find my Versamark again. And think about where I want these to go. I'm going to want one about there. One about there, and we're not worrying too much about overlapping and things at the moment because we're actually going to be sticking these baubles on. And about there. And about there. This one is going to be fairly central coming up here. Let's see how that works out. Fingers crossed. One, two, three, four, five. Rather a lot of the embossing powder scattered on my side. Let's get rid of that. go. So let's put some glue on these. We'll have one there. Just going to lose the bottom tails on the bow. We'll just have the top bits. One there. One there. One there. And this one I'm going to put up onto dimensional. Should have had that little one moved over slightly, never mind. That one coming in there. And then we'll bring this ribbon down this intersection between the two papers. Stick that on our card base. Oh. And to take a couple of little glue dots, just tuck them under there just to hold that down. Oh, not there. There. Oh, now you've gone wonky. Thank you. And then we just want a greeting on there. So shall we have joy to the world? Bit of cherry cobbler card just here. Let's heat emboss that in gold too. It is funny how that camera was so fuzzy to start with, and then coming in, it's been fine. Who knows? The wonders of technology. Joy to the world. I'm actually going to these apart. Let's take snips, and because this one is a bit more curly, I'm actually going to cut round it a little bit. And I think we will have Joy on a dimensional. We'll stick 2 down. We'll stick that down. And we'll pop world on dimensionals. Yes, I'm sure if you all come in and catch up, they're perhaps doing exciting things with their Saturday. And then I think that one, we're either going to go gilded gems or gilded gems, I think. Let's have one in there. And a couple around the place. Right. So there we are. We've taken our baubles. I've got embossing powder everywhere. Taken our baubles. This one we've stamped multiple times and coloured them in. This one we've stamped onto paper, heat embossed them and cut them out. So it just goes to show that this stamp set and bundle is not all about the stars. The stars are fabulous. Obviously the punch that coordinates with it will punch out your stars, makes it really, really useful stamp set and punch bundle. But don't forget these little baubles and those lovely little sentiments and things that are in there as well. So I hope you have enjoyed those 2 cards, and whether you have watched live or whether you are catching up later, do pop on, do say hello, do leave us a comment and let us know what you've been creating. It's always nice to hear. So have a really, really lovely rest of the weekend, and I will be back Monday morning UK time as usual, to do a bit more. Actually, it'll be a bit more Christmas crafting, so let's do a bit more Christmas crafting on Monday. So I will see you all then. Yeah, and in the meantime, any questions, anything I can help you with, do get in touch, and do go and head over and check out my website at www.loveaduckie.co.uk, and I'll see you on Monday.